hindsight's 2020, and I wouldn't be a good steward of capital that I am today if I didn't go broke back in 2012, right? If I wasn't, I was trying to sell the Walmart and IKEA side tables in my living room on Craigslist for $5 to $10 just to be able to buy food, right? And be able to make, like, I couldn't make the minimum payment on my credit card. I think there's some mistakes you gotta make in order to really appreciate what you've got in the future. So the good news is I made those mistakes relatively on a small scale compared to what I'm doing today.
We make money in apartments the same way that banks make money. Banks use other people's money, they bring it in deposits, right? They pay a dividend, they pay an interest rate, usually 0.1, 0.2, 0.3% on somebody's money. And then they take that money and they go and lend it out at a 4 or 5 or 6% interest rate. And the banks arbitrage, they make a spread on that money. Okay, so they're bringing in $1 million, I'm using round numbers, right? $1 million at a 0.2% interest rate that they're paying back out, but then they're lending it and they're making 5% on it. That means they're arbitraging 4.8% that on $1 million that the bank gets to keep.
You know how many actual units I own? Or how many apartment buildings, properties I actually own? I don't know, like 65, right? There's over 800,000 out there. I own 65 and I own a small percentage of 65. So like, just imagine how much opportunity there is out there for anybody to go out and make a huge impact on their own life and their family's life and their community's life by sharing this information. And you know what I found? By the more that I share, the more podcasts I'm on, the more I post on social media, the more people reach out to me and they're like, dude, I came across a deal. Can I sell it to you? Came across a deal. Can we joint venture? Are you selling anything, Tim? Can I buy something from you? Can I invest with you? You know, do you mentor? Do you coach? Like, how can we work together? There's no doubt in my mind we'll buy at least another 1,000 doors by the end of the year, probably 1,500 to 2,000. And I think we'll buy probably 4,000 or 5,000 doors next year and be at about 10,000 doors by the end of 2022 is the goal, and hit the $1 billion total asset value.
When you have a cash flowing property that kicks off enough cash flow that covers the operating expenses, it covers the debt service, the mortgage payment, and it puts cash in your pocket, I don't give a shit if values go to zero on paper. They go to zero on paper. If you still have that asset that kicks off cash, that covers the operating expenses, covers the carrying costs, covers the mortgage payments, and puts cash in your pocket, is there value to that, yes or no? Absolutely there is. So it doesn't matter if values go to zero, if you still have cash flow, you're able to ride out any sort of storm and cover all your holding costs until the economy comes back. Hey, I'm at my my beach house in Charleston, South Carolina. Not a bad view, right? Check this out. I was with my buddy Brian Page last week, who's got B&B Formula. It's an Airbnb type thing, and we were talking about some stuff and talking about kind of what holds people back from getting into big deals and getting into apartment building deals and all this big stuff. And I thought about shooting a video on this on Friday when I was with Brian, and then I just didn't do it yet. And then my buddy Dustin Maher, who's in there, the exact same thing came up, and it was a piece of conversation. You want to come out here? And in the conversation, it was, you know, how come people don't go bigger? How come people stay small in their operations or their business? Baby, here, go inside. It's cold out here. And I think it comes down to fear, right? Fear of the unknown, fear of going bigger, fear of not knowing what comes with going bigger, and fear that you might fail, and all these different things. And first, before I go dive into that a little bit more, I want to talk about why is it cool to go bigger, all right? Why is it cool to build a big business? Because it's actually easier to build a bigger business than a smaller business. The other thing is not only that it's easier to build, like, think about it this way. If I have a 10-unit apartment building, I can't employ an on-site property manager. I can't employ maintenance personnel on site to handle and manage that. I'm going to pay an 8 or 10% property management fee to a property management company. Versus buying a 200-unit apartment building, I can employ 2 property managers, 4 maintenance people, have some on-site leasing agents, and it automatically runs itself. Versus, if I want to layer it with third-party management, it would cost me about 3.5%. So there's a difference. And one of the things I've noticed in business and in the level of somebody's success is that the level of their success is directly correlated not to their degree, not to their level of education, not to their socioeconomic status that they were born into, not to what country or origin or sex or religion or ethnicity or anything like that. The number one correlation to big success is big thinking. The level and the size of your success directly correlates to the size of your thinking. And so that's why you want to go big, right? Why don't people go big? Because of fear. Now, what is fear? I heard this at a personal development seminar, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's one of the most profound things I've ever heard. And I hope it's as profound for you guys as it was for me. Fear is believing in something. Well, first of all, fear and faith are the exact same thing, except for one difference. They're both believing in something that has not yet come to pass. They're both believing in something that has not occurred. They're both believing in something that is unknown. The difference between faith and fear is one is positive and one is negative. It's the only difference. They're both believing in something of a story that we're making up in our head. It's not based on facts. It's not based on anything that actually happened. It's based on a story that we make up in our head of what could potentially happen. And the only difference is that one is positive and the other is negative. Here's the most amazing part of it all. We get to choose whether we want to tell ourselves a positive story or a negative story. We get to choose. It's up to us. It's not up to somebody else. It's not up to life. It's not up to whatever happens to us. It's about how we respond to what happens to us. And it's up to us to make the decision to be positive and be faithful of what might happen in business or what might happen in life versus fearful of what might happen in business or what might happen in life. Dude, it's the exact same thing as buying single-family houses, just adding a zero on. That's it. Well, what if a contractor screws me? What if a tenant tears up my unit? What if the management company, burns me? What if, dude, there's a lot of what ifs. And a lot of those what ifs probably will occur. But what if you became shit rich? What if you became financially free? What if you built a financial fortress around your family that nothing could ever penetrate? What if you could send your kids to whatever school that they wanted to go to? What if you could take your family, your extended family, on a vacation to exotic places around the world that people only see in books? What if you could contribute to a church, contribute to a philanthropy, contribute to a hospital, contribute to some sort of philanthropic organization that you couldn't, right? Unless you took that risk or that perceived risk, right? Unless you had that leap of faith. And the difference is you cannot be fearful. You got to be faithful. Focus on the what ifs of what might happen if it works out, right? Not what if it fails, what if it works out? And so I want you guys to understand that, like, worst case scenario, like a lot of the decisions that I make based on weighing what is the worst case scenario of something that could happen and what does that look like versus the best case. My internet keeps on going in and out. Sorry, guys. So what is the worst case scenario of something that could happen versus the best case scenario of something that could happen? And do you realize that, like, we are animals and we have this internal instinct that fear correlates to danger. And the reality is, back when 3 million years ago, when we had to worry about a saber-toothed tiger jumping on your neck and eating your neck, like, fear correlated to danger. And if you felt fear, you should run, right? You should not do certain things. The difference is today, there's no real danger in what we do. Danger is something that is real, that can actually hurt you. Fear is not real. Fear is a story built up in our heads. And so if it's just a story built up in our heads and there's no real fear, but we still have these hormones that are released when we feel fear as if it is danger. And what I've come to realize is that the worst case scenario in thinking big, in building a big business, in weighing out building a multi-billion-dollar real estate portfolio and all these different businesses and all these different ambitions that I have, The worst case scenario is that these businesses go bankrupt. If these businesses go bankrupt, guess what's the difference? What's the best case scenario? There is no ceiling. It is a there is no ceiling. It is a limitless opportunity that can go infinitely high. Worst case scenario, you hit the floor. Best case scenario, you go to the moon, you go past the moon, you go to the interstellar space. Like, anything is possible. So when you weigh that out and you realize that there's not really any danger in what we now listen, that does not give you a reason to go and be reckless in business. It does not give you a reason to be negligent or grossly negligent or do stupid stuff that can get you in trouble. That is not the case. That's not what I'm saying right now. But what I am saying is, going big or going small, why not go big? Right? Why not think bigger? Why not be more ambitious? Why not go and get some stuff done and make a bigger impact? When you have more money, you can make a bigger impact on other people's lives and help more people and make a difference in society. So think about it that way. I hope this kind of pivoted some of your thought processes, because I promise you, going bigger is a lot more fun, right? So go big or go home. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.